How are you? When someone asks you that, what do you say? Usually I'd say fine, tired, okay, right? So we fall back on 4 or 5 stock emotions to explain all of life, which is a bit of a tragedy. Have you seen an emotion wheel? Now, this emotion wheel is a small list of emotions that exist that we all have felt at some point in our lives or the other, but we don't use it in our communication. Why do you think that is? If you said social conditioning, early learnings, you'd be absolutely right. We access emotions on the basis of what we are taught in school, at home, with our extended family. We do more of what we're rewarded for and do less of what we're punished for. For example, if we are told not to cry or be angry, we learn not to do that. And if like a lot of very young people now who are being parented by folks who are saying use your words to explain your emotions, if you're given the permission to do that, then you use more emotions. Another element is gender. Now, I'm going to generalize a little bit, but in most cultures, especially South Asian ones, the more female you are on the spectrum, the more you're allowed to be sad as a negative emotion, but not angry, not even righteous anger, furiousness, being critical, and so on. And the more male you are, you're allowed to be angry, but you're not allowed to be sad, weepy, vulnerable, disappointed, fragile. Yeah, we take the power away to feel fully because we deny ourselves the vocabulary. So, an invitation for now is to take a look at that emotion wheel and look at all the emotions that you felt. I'm going to give you a couple of exercises that might help start off on a good footing, right? Take a sheet of paper, assign a different color for each of the emotions you felt in the last week, and fluidly just color it in till the sheet is full of color. It'll look like abstract art because even in real life, our emotions aren't in specific boxes, they interact freely with each other, right? Try this, and what you get is a visual understanding of what your inner life was like for the period that you did this exercise for. Another exercise is something called a year in pixels. This again is a free download online, and I'm sharing links to all of these below. What this does is through the year, for every day there's a dot, and you fill in with the color of the emotion that you felt the most that day. This has allowed me in the past to say I want to feel, a couple of years ago for instance, I wanted to feel more equanimous. And so, because I wanted to fill it with equanimous for the next day, honestly, I tried to be a little more equanimous in the face of everyday difficulties. And doing that, in that year alone, I reduced the amount of anxiousness that I feel as a go to emotion. Right? So, you can train yourself, and this does take time, which is why it's a year in pixels. And once you change that track, that learning stays with you, it becomes a habit. Similarly, in the last year, I wanted more grace and gratitude, and I did that. So you can invite the emotions that you want and reduce the emotions that you would like less of. Right? A third thing that I'd like to share with you, and this isn't so much of an exercise as it is another resource, and this is from a person called Joshua Friedman, which talks about the various emotions, and these emotions are actually from the movie Inside Out. So they're basic emotions. And it talks about how these emotions interact with each other to produce more nuanced emotions. So that's another way to think about, how do you create intersection sets of emotion. Yeah. So if you're still here, still interested, here's my ask of you. Rebuild your last week of emotions. Invite that richness into your life. Invite that vocabulary into your life. And see what that does for you. So go ahead, change your mind about how many emotions you actually feel and you permit yourself to feel.